Gauteng residents are well into the 54-hour planned maintenance, which will see water supply disruptions and changes to water pressure, because begin earlier today. It's in relation to the Vereeniging purification plant, new pipes being laid. I'm now joined by Professor Mike Muller from the Water Institute of Southern Africa. Prof, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. This is just but one project. I think we understand that it had to happen now. They have to lay new pipes. It's part of maintenance, but of course it's affecting the flow of water to parts of Gauteng. Some areas will be worse affected than others. But should this have been done before? And should we expect more such disruptions to happen as Rand Water, for example, tries to catch up with maintenance that it is behind with?
Good afternoon to you, Dan, and to your viewers.
Some of the infrastructure is old, it needs to be improved or upgraded, and we've been criticizing Rand Water and other water authorities for not maintaining regularly. But this time you say there's a big plan over the next 5 years. But I would argue then that we would need advanced communication all the time. Like in this case, they did advise people from last week to say, come Monday, this is what's going to be happening.
Yeah, and I think, I think the communications, we could have done better looking at how it's been taken by the public. Firstly, when you switch off that pump in Vereeniging, actually nothing changes in Joburg, because there's tanks and reservoirs full of water in Joburg, which are going to carry on draining. It's going to matter in a couple of days if this supply doesn't come back, because then those reservoirs will be empty. And I think we need to explain in much more careful detail. When we switch the water off, it's not like electricity. We can switch off the pump and the water will still keep flowing from the reservoir. But when the reservoir, the pump comes on again, it's going to take a day to fill the reservoir. And people don't understand this. They think that they're being lied to, but that's actually a problem of communication. And I think what the lesson from this exercise so far, and as I say, we haven't finished it yet, so let's say so far, the planning sounds sensible, but the communication has caused confusion. There was absolutely no reason for the courts in Johannesburg to suspend hearings because of this water interruption they feared. If they want to suspend anything, they should wait till Wednesday and see if the water is beginning to give problems. They shouldn't have suspended today. Now, that wasn't communicated, and it's the kind of issue that we need to do better. So I think you're right. Doing the right thing is important, but telling people about it and explaining it carefully is just as important.
Yeah, and then you have to choose your messaging properly there. So, Prof, should we expect, because this is like planned maintenance, it's part of, you've said, I don't know how many billions rands worth of a project for the next 5 years. Therefore, we should expect this kind of planned maintenance to happen more often, and we should celebrate the fact that finally the water infrastructure, at least in the Rand Water catchment area, is now being attended to. But we should be asking national government and other provincial health water authorities to do the same.
In the part of northern Joburg where I'm living at the moment, the city, Joburg Water, has been doing a very good job of isolating sections of the network so that they can control the pressure better and reduce leaks. But if you listen to the WhatsApp groups, they are furious. They're saying, why do we keep having these interruptions in service? And, I have to say, look, they're trying to improve the network, and you can't work in a network under pressure. You've got to isolate it and switch off water for a while. And then people say, well, why didn't they tell us? And I think this is where I'm glad you mentioned the communications. It's not just Rand Water and national government, but each municipality, their water utility, has to talk to people and explain what's going on. And if they do, eventually people will begin to understand, and they might even, as the minister said earlier today, they might even shower with a friend instead of wasting the water all for themselves.
Thank you very much, Professor Mike Muller. Serious issue, of course, but I think the communication, I'm hoping Rand Water, you're listening there to Prof. Mike Muller, your communication and messaging What are these key messages that need to land with us, who are your customers, who are consumers? Could have been done better this time. And because you're going to have a 5-year improvement project, which we welcome, you need to communicate better and better. Tell us exactly what and how.